What is up, guys? This is Zach from Anglers Escape, and today I'm going to be making a video on 5 catfishing tips and tricks. And this is really for the bank angler, but also for boats, lakes, and rivers. Behind me is the Missouri River. I've caught a lot of big fish from this spot. Caught an 80-pounder and 2 50-pounders. Alright guys, so tip number 1 is locating a good fishing spot. The best way to do that is go to a local bait and tackle shop and kind of ask around, see where some big fish, or at least catfish in general, are being caught. You can also go on Google online and look up fishing reports for your area. Another excellent way to do it is go onto Google Maps and kind of scout out the area for big lakes and rivers. So this spot behind me right here, I actually found using Google Maps. And it's a little bit of a hike out here, but it's really a gym. It's a nice sandbar. Normally the water's pretty high, but this sandbar stands out there quite a ways. I've had a lot of campouts here and cooking with friends. It was a great fishing spot, and I found it all thanks to Google Maps. So go to your local tackle shop, buy some worms or some bait from them, and ask them for any tips on where to go catfishing. Go online, search for fishing reports. And then also there's a lot of Facebook groups in like areas, like in Kansas City, there's a Kansas City area fishing group Facebook page, as well as a Lee Summit area and a Smithville Lake fishing area Facebook page. And then go on Google Maps and see if you can find some good places to access these spots. So tip number 2, guys, is the baits. And I'm going to make this really simple. The best baits that I found for catfishing in general is worms and then live or cut bait. So worms is the key to everything, because you can pick these up from Walmart about $3, and then you can use them for the smaller catfish, like 1 to 5 pounds, or you can use them to catch the bait for the bigger catfish. Like this is some cut bait, some cut mooneye that I caught on the worms. So the worms are your key to catching the small catfish, and then also getting the bait for the larger catfish. Now worms, I usually, if I'm fishing for smaller channel catfish, I'm going to be using a size 1 circle hook, or a size 1 to a size 1/0 circle hook. With a big, nice, juicy night crawler. And Walmart, again, is a great place to get those worms. Then if I'm going for bigger catfish, I'll take those same worms, cut up really small pieces on a real small hook, and I'll fish them under a bobber at like local creeks or small ponds and catch some bluegill, or in this case, I caught some mooneye and then cut them up into cut bait. And I'm fishing for these guys, these catfish, I'm usually using a size about like this, maybe 1 inch by 2 inches. If I'm fishing for smaller catfish, maybe I'll grab like a 1 by 1 inch piece of cut bait right here. And a lot of times I'll fish the bluegill live too, or the sunfish or the mooneye live. And so worms are really your key. That's the best way to go. Dough baits work, but not nearly as well as worms, because they're just natural baits. These fish are naturally feeding on worms, and they're naturally feeding on bait fish like bluegills and other stuff that you can catch on the worms. Tip number 3 is how to maximize your odds when catfishing. So when you go catfishing, you want as many different baits and rods and reels as possible. So in Missouri, you can have 3 poles per person if they're not labeled. But if you label your rod and reels with your name, address, and conservation number, you can have up to 33 rod and reels out, as long as you're just using no more than 33 hooks. So today I have 3 poles, and my friend Tony, who's filming right now, has 3 poles. So we have 6 poles spread out along this bank right here, giving us a lot of different options. And I'm fishing with cut baits, worms, and then if I had, normally I'm fishing with live bait too, but today I don't have any, but I usually use at least 2 to 3 different baits, and then I'm using probably about 6 poles of them with a different buddy. So that's going to really increase your odds. And another thing is when you show up at a fishing spot, you want to move within about an hour of not catching anything. So if I don't catch anything in one spot for an hour, then there's probably no actively feeding fish in that area at that certain time. Now I might come back later in the day, in the evening or at night, and they might be biting left and right. And so like today, I've been here for about an hour, so I'm about to head out because I just don't think I'm going to catch anything. I found if I sit here for more than an hour, I'm just wasting my time. But if I come back like tomorrow, for some reason, the same spot, I might catch fish left and right. I've had nights where I've caught 5 or 6 fish over 20 pounds in a period of 30 minutes. And then I've come back the next day at the same time, same conditions, and caught nothing. So you really got to try different times, different spots, and keep moving, keep on the move when you're catfishing. Catfishing tip number 4, guys, is using circle hooks. The nice thing about circle hooks is they're self-setting, and the fish are a lot less likely to swallow the hook. So let me show you some of these circle hooks. Right here is a 10/0 circle hook I got on Amazon, and I'll show you the link in the description on where to get some really good deals on some big hooks. Here's a 5/0 circle hook, and here's a 1/0 circle hook. The 1/0 circle hook I use for the worms, the 5/0 and the 10/0 I'll be using for cut bait and live bait. And the other nice thing about circle hooks is when you are out here fishing, you have so many poles, it's impossible to be ready to just set the hook immediately with those J hooks. You don't have to set the hook with the circle hooks. You just keep the line taut, and when that fish starts to take the bait, the hook naturally comes around and hooks them. And so you don't have to be there to set the hook like the J hook. So that allows you to fish with a lot more poles, on whether you're on a lake or a river, bank fishing, or on a boat. You can be a little more passive, a little more lazy, or just have more poles spread out. You could be eating hot dogs like we were just cooking hot dogs over here. Don't have to be there to set the hook if we did get a bite. Tip number 5, guys, is to use a Carolina rig when catfishing. And so this is a Carolina rig. Basically what I have here is a big weight. Since I'm fishing a river, I need about an 8-ounce weight. If I was fishing a lake, this would be a 1 or 2 ounce weight. But basically the Carolina rig allows the weight to freely slide up and down your main line. So that way when a fish starts taking your bait, they don't feel as much resistance. They're more likely to hang on to that bait a little bit longer, get hooked. So right here I have a size 1 barrel swivel, and you want to make sure your swivel is stronger than your string, so you're not breaking your swivel before your string. Normally I'll put a little bead right here so the weight can't get to it, but I'm using such high pound test line, I'm not really worried about the weight fraying up the line so much. And then after my swivel, I got about 1 foot to 18 inches till I have my hook. And right here I have my 10-aught hook because I'm fishing for big baits, but if I was fishing for smaller catfish, I'd have that 1-aught circle fishing with worms. And so basically, again, the Carolina rig is just a free sliding weight, which allows you to get a better hook set ratio, or they're less likely to spit out the hook and you're more likely to get a good hook set. And then to that barrel swivel, and then you got about 16 or maybe 12 to 18 inches before you got your hook tied on there. So Carolina rig's a great way to go. One more quick tip, guys. I know this is over 5, but that's to change out your baits every 30 minutes to an hour. Right here I got a moon eye head that I was using. I was getting some bites and I went ahead and reeled it in, and something has been kind of pecking away at all the meaty areas. Now this bait's pretty washed out. You can see it's lost a lot of its scent, its flavor. It isn't going to catch me a whole lot. And what's interesting is a lot of times I'll change out my baits and instantly get bites. So I'll have 2 hours without bites, then I'll change out one of these like washed out baits, especially in rivers because the water just rips the scent away so quickly, and then I'll start immediately getting bites again. So keep your baits fresh. And the other thing that's really frustrating, sometimes you leave to go home, you'll reel in all your poles and all your baits are gone, and you realize the last hour or two you've been fishing without baits, and nothing is worse than that. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. At the end of the video I'll include some links to some more videos of me using some of these tips to catch some really big catfish. I also want to tell you that I made a new ebook for catfishing. I wrote it up, and I'll put the link for my ebook that kind of has a lot of catfishing tips and tricks. It's $5. I'm curious to see what you guys think about the catfishing book. It's about, I think, 24 pages or so, and it's got a lot of information on just catfishing in general, and then all my catches, what baits I was using, time of day, what location, and stuff like that. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video and these tips will help you out, and as always, good luck fishing.